This story is titled, Connected to My Fiancée's Hands-Free and Overheard Her Plotting with My Best Friend. After he transfers property rights, we'll begin our life without him. I played the devoted partner for 90 days. Today, my phone exploded with dozens of frantic calls. Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be sharing something like this, but life has a funny way of working out sometimes. I'm 41 years old and have been living in San Diego for several years now. I work as a business consultant for large corporations, and while I've lurked on Reddit for quite some time, I never imagined I'd be posting my own story here. Yet here I am. It all started on Thursday, April 18th. I remember the exact date because it was the day before our monthly bill payments, and I was doing my usual budget check. My wife, Lisa, 38F, and I have been married for 11 years, what I had always considered to be a solid marriage. We had our routines. She would go to her painting class every Thursday evening, while I usually worked late catching up on various projects. About 3 months ago, I left work early due to a power outage at the office. They send everyone home around 2:30 p.m., and I decided to swing by Target on my way home. We were almost out of everything. Toilet paper, coffee, and those dark chocolate almonds that Lisa loves. You know, normal married people stuff. I was sitting in the Target parking lot, scrolling through YouTube, trying to find that podcast about real estate that my colleague Kevin had recommended. Without thinking, I hit the connect button on my phone's Bluetooth. Normally, it would connect to my car, but today, strangely enough, it connected to Lisa's Acura instead. I thought this was weird, because Lisa's car shouldn't have been anywhere near there. Her painting class meets at her friend Monica's house, which is across town. Before I could disconnect, I heard laughter coming through my phone. Lisa's laugh. Not her polite social laugh, but that specific one she does when she's genuinely entertained. Then I heard a man's voice. It was Nathan's voice, my best friend since high school. I froze completely, the podcast forgotten, my finger hovering over the disconnect button. Their voices were crystal clear. Lisa must have left her phone connected to her car's Bluetooth while they were sitting inside. He seriously has no idea, Lisa was saying, her voice carrying that slight buzz she gets after 2 glasses of wine. He thinks I'm at painting class right now, Nathan laughed. And he thinks I'm at that marketing conference in Sacramento. There was a pause before he added, Man, he's always been so trusting. Remember when we almost got caught at your cousin's wedding? I sat there frozen in my car, unable to move a muscle as the conversation continued. That was too close, Lisa replied, but it's not going to matter soon. Once he signs the house over for the tax benefits, we'll have everything we need to start our new life, without that pathetic fool. They both laughed at me, at my stupidity. What about the timeline? Nathan asked. How much longer do we need to keep this charade going? 3 months, max, Lisa said confidently. My financial advisor said the capital gains exemption works best if we wait until after our tax filing. He already thinks it makes sense to put the house in my name because of my self-employment situation. God, he's so clueless about money. 3 months. 97 days to be exact, until our next tax appointment that Lisa had helpfully scheduled with her highly recommended advisor. I sat there in the Target parking lot. I don't know how long, listening to them talk about their future together. They had been seeing each other for 2 years behind my back. Nathan had been playing the good friend while sleeping with my wife. Lisa had been siphoning money from our joint account into a separate one for months. My hands were shaking so hard that I dropped my phone and the Bluetooth connection broke. For what felt like hours, I just sat there staring at nothing, my brain trying to process what I had just heard. 11 years of marriage and a lifetime of friendship, all gone in an instant. I don't know how I managed to drive home. I remember sitting in our driveway for about 45 minutes, trying to get my shit together before going inside. I must have looked through at least 200 photos on my phone. Pictures of the 3 of us together at barbecues, on our fishing trip last summer, at Nathan's birthday party where he made a toast about friendship. The rage came in waves, first hot, then ice cold. I wanted to trash the house, pack my bags, call everyone we knew. I wanted to wait until she got home and confront her with everything. I imagined the look on her face when she realized she'd been caught. But then something clicked. They had called me a pathetic fool. They had laughed about how easily they'd fooled me. They had a plan to take everything from me, my house, my dignity, and probably a chunk of my retirement too, if Lisa had her way. I decided right then and there. They weren't going to get the satisfaction. I went inside, put away the Target stuff I'd never actually bought, opened my laptop, and started making a list. Do not confront Lisa or Nathan yet. Document everything: dates, times, conversations. Check joint finances and credit reports. Find a lawyer, not anyone Lisa or Nathan might know. Secure personal items and documents. Act completely normal. That last part was going to be the hardest. That night, I created a new email account on ProtonMail, downloaded Signal on an old phone I had in my drawer, and started recording every conversation with Lisa. I took screenshots of our bank accounts and credit card statements. When Lisa came home around 9 p.m., slightly wine-flushed and smelling of unfamiliar cologne, I was on the couch watching Breaking Bad. "How was painting class?" I asked with a smile. "Oh, good. We're working on landscapes now," she said, not even bothering to mention any specific details. "That's nice. I ordered Thai since I got home late. There's some left in the fridge." She looked almost disappointed at how normal I was acting. Maybe she was expecting a fight about her being out late again. Instead, I gave her a quick kiss on the cheek and went back to my show. The next day, I called in sick to work. As soon as Lisa left, I tore through the house. I found her hidden phone in her yoga bag and discovered statements for a separate checking account with nearly $40,000 in it. Money that had been slowly disappearing from our joint savings. I located a folder of emails she'd printed out between her and Nathan, hidden in a tampon box. Seriously, the oldest trick in the book. I took pictures of everything, then put it all back exactly as I found it. That afternoon, I met with Victoria, an attorney someone recommended when I casually asked about a friend's divorce situation. She laid it out clearly. I needed evidence, patience, and a solid plan. "Don't show your hand," she told me. "The moment they know you know, they'll accelerate their plans. You need to be 10 steps ahead." The next 97 days were the hardest of my life. Every morning, I woke up next to the woman who was planning to destroy me. Every weekend, Nathan would text about hanging out, playing video games, or watching the game. Sometimes I said yes, sitting there drinking beers with him, watching him check his phone and smile when Lisa texted him from the other room. I became the perfect husband. I fixed things around the house without being asked, bought Lisa flowers randomly, and suggested we update our wills and financial plans, which gave me access to even more information. I even brought up the house transfer myself, mentioning some article I'd supposedly read about tax benefits for self-employed individuals. "That sounds like a great idea," Lisa said, trying but failing to hide her excitement. "My financial advisor mentioned something similar. Why don't we look into it?" The pieces were falling into place. Their pieces, or so they thought. Meanwhile, I was building my own plan with Victoria, setting up my escape, moving small amounts of money into a separate account they didn't know about, and documenting every lie, every late night at work, every business dinner that was actually a date between my wife and best friend. I discovered they had a whole Google Photos album of their time together, vacations they'd taken while I was working, screenshots of their text conversations, laughing about how oblivious I was. I found hotel receipts, restaurant bills, even a shared Spotify playlist called Us, full of songs about secret love and new beginnings. Every night, I swallowed my rage and played my part. I listened to Lisa talk about her day, knowing half of it was lies. I texted Nathan about fantasy football and acted excited about our upcoming fishing trip. I downloaded their entire text history using Lisa's old iPad that she thought she'd wiped. Pro tip: check your iCloud settings, people. I recorded them on the phone when they thought I wasn't around. I had Kevin from work help me recover deleted files from our home computer. The hardest part was acting normal with other people. When Tom, my brother, noticed something was off and asked if everything was okay, I nearly broke down and told him everything. Instead, I said I was stressed about work and changed the subject to his new deck project. The days ticked by slowly. Some nights I'd lie awake, Lisa sleeping soundly beside me, wondering if I should just confront them and be done with it. Throw away my careful planning for the satisfaction of seeing their faces when they realized they'd been caught. But then I'd remember them laughing about me, calling me a pathetic fool, and my resolve would harden again. Day 75. Lisa mentioned the tax appointment coming up, saying it would be smart to bring the house paperwork with us. Day 89. Nathan invited me to his cabin for a guys' weekend that happened to fall on the weekend after the tax appointment. A celebration, no doubt. Day 93. I finalized everything with Victoria. All my pieces were in place. Day 96. We had dinner with Lisa's sister Monica and her husband. Lisa was on her phone all night, presumably texting Nathan. Monica asked if everything was okay between us. Lisa jumped in before I could answer, saying we'd never been happier. And then day 97 arrived. The day of the tax appointment, The day they thought their plan would come together. The day I'd been counting down to for 3 excruciating months. Little did they know, I had my own appointment scheduled for that morning, and it wasn't with their tax advisor. I'll post an update after all this blows up. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since this morning. 42 missed calls and counting. Stay strong. Edit. Holy shit. I didn't expect this to blow up. To answer the most common questions. Yes, this is unfortunately real. No, I'm not making this up, and yes, I have documentation for everything. Those 97 days were a special kind of hell. Everyone's been asking how I managed to keep it together. So here's the full story of what went down between discovering their betrayal and executing my plan. The morning after I overheard Lisa and Nathan through the Bluetooth connection, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. For about 30 seconds, I thought maybe it had all been a nightmare. Then Lisa rolled over, kissed my cheek, and asked if I could pick up her dry cleaning after work. The same dry cleaning that probably had outfits she'd worn on dates with my best friend. I smiled and said, "Sure," then went to the bathroom and threw up. That became my new normal. Acting perfectly fine on the outside while dying inside. I downloaded this mood tracking app someone recommended for anxiety and used it to monitor my emotional state. Not going to lie, the first 2 weeks were mostly just rage and FML entries. Day 7, I started Operation Don't Be a Pathetic Fool, named after their lovely description. The first step was gathering intelligence. I set up a hidden folder on my Google Drive with a documentation system that would make conspiracy theorists proud. Timestamps, locations, meetings that didn't exist. I logged when Lisa said she was somewhere versus where her location actually showed on our shared family plan. She disabled her location tracking on Instagram, but forgot we were on the same Verizon account where I could see her GPS data. Big mistake. Huge. Day 12. I had my second meeting with Victoria, the attorney. She laid out 3 different scenarios for me, ranging from scorched earth to clean break. I chose option 4, calculated justice. We started putting together the framework that would protect my assets while documenting everything. Turns out Lisa's secret account wasn't actually that secret from a legal standpoint. The money trail was eye-opening. Our tight budget for the past year was because Lisa had been slowly siphoning funds. $200 here, $300 there. But it added up to almost $40,000 over 18 months. Money that was supposed to be for our future. Day 15. Nathan texted, asking if I wanted to catch the game at his place. I almost threw my phone against the wall. Instead, I texted back, "Sure sounds great," with a beer emoji. Then I went to his apartment and sat on the same couch where I'd seen pictures of him and Lisa cuddling just days before, thanks to their not-so-secret Google Photos album. He ordered pizza, handed me a beer, and started talking about some girl he was casually seeing. The audacity of this guy, creating a fake girlfriend to throw me off. I sat there nodding, asking questions about this imaginary woman while he lied to my face. When he went to the bathroom, I planted a small USB voice recorder under his coffee table. Not my proudest moment, but desperate times and all that. Day 23. I started leaving my phone in obvious places while appearing distracted. Classic bait. Sure enough, I caught Lisa scrolling through it twice. Joke's on her. I'd created a decoy. My real communications with Victoria were on a separate phone I kept in my gym bag. Lisa found exactly what I wanted her to find. Searches for tax benefits transferring house spouse and capital gains exemption primary residence. She thought she was so slick, putting my phone back exactly as she found it. Day 30. I hit a low point. I spent my lunch break sitting in my car in the Walmart parking lot, just staring at nothing. I almost called the whole thing off. The constant lying and pretending was eating me alive. I texted Tom asking if he wanted to grab a beer afterward. I didn't tell him anything specific, just that Lisa and I were going through some stuff. He could tell something was seriously wrong, but didn't push, just listened and kept the beers coming. Having that one night to just breathe with someone who wasn't trying to screw me over made a huge difference. Day 42. Lisa suggested we have Nathan over for dinner. I suggested we invite Jessica too, Lisa's friend, who I always suspected knew about the affair. The look on Lisa's face was priceless. She recovered quickly, saying Jessica was busy. I insisted, saying I'd already texted her and she was free. Lisa had no choice but to agree. Dinner was a masterclass in awkwardness. Nathan kept finding excuses to help Lisa in the kitchen. Jessica kept giving me these weird, sympathetic looks. I pretended not to notice any of it while keeping everyone's wine glasses full. 3 bottles later, Jessica was drunk enough that when Lisa and Nathan stepped outside for a smoke break, neither of them smoke. She leaned over and asked if I was really okay with everything. I played dumb. Jessica looked confused, then realized I had no idea what she was talking about. She backpedaled hard, spilling her wine in the process. That confirmed everything Jessica knew. When I walked her to her Uber later, I slipped in a few innocent questions about how long she'd known Lisa and Nathan were such good friends. Her guilty expression told me everything. Day 50. I created a fake email trail about bonus money coming my way and accidentally left it open on our shared iPad. Within hours, Lisa was asking casual questions about my work and if anything exciting was happening. I mentioned a possible bonus in the next few months. She suggested we should use it to renovate the bathroom she was planning to enjoy with Nathan after I was out of the picture. I smiled and said that sounded perfect. Day 63. Lisa left her Apple Watch charging in the bathroom. The notification preview showed a text from Nathan. Miss you already. 34 more days. They were literally counting down. I took a photo of it, added it to my evidence folder, went downstairs and made Lisa her favorite breakfast. Waffles with strawberries arranged in a smiley face. She ate them while texting him back. That night, I pretended to have a nightmare, sat up gasping in bed. Lisa asked what was wrong. I said I dreamed she was leaving me. She held me and promised she'd never do that we were forever. I let her comfort me while I stared at the ceiling counting the days in my head. Day 71. I ran into Monica, Lisa's sister, at the grocery store. She was cold, barely making eye contact. Lisa had obviously been telling her family that our marriage was on the rocks, painting me as the villain to prepare them for when she left. Monica made some comment about how Lisa deserves to be happy. I just nodded and asked how her kids were doing. Kill them with kindness, right? Day 75. Kevin from work invited me to happy hour. I almost said no, then realized I needed to maintain normal social patterns. I ended up telling him I was dealing with some personal stuff after we'd had a few drinks. Kevin turned out to be the MVP I never knew I needed. When I mentioned needing help recovering some deleted files, he offered to help without asking too many questions. His weekend side hustle doing data recovery came in clutch. Day 82. I started experiencing weird anxiety symptoms, chest pains, trouble breathing. Dr. Google suggested I was having panic attacks. I downloaded a meditation app, but ended up just using it to brainstorm more revenge plans while the soothing voice talked about letting go. The irony wasn't lost on me. Day 85. Lisa suggested we update our life insurance policies. She actually brought the paperwork home herself. I noticed she'd already filled out her beneficiary section, removing me entirely and putting her sister Monica instead. I pretended not to notice, said I'd look everything over, then accidentally spilled coffee on the form so we'd need new ones. Day 88. I found their shared Amazon wishlist titled New Place. It had everything from furniture to kitchen appliances. They were literally planning to furnish their new life together while dismantling mine. The kicker? Some of the items were things I'd picked out years ago that Lisa had vetoed for our house. Apparently, my taste was good enough for her future with Nathan. Day 90. I started moving my essential documents and irreplaceable items to a storage unit. Nothing obvious, just my grandfather's pocket watch, the baseball cards my uncle left me, important paperwork. I told Lisa I was decluttering based on that Netflix show everyone was watching. She actually helped me pack some boxes, not realizing she was helping me prepare to leave. Day 91. Nathan invited me to his cabin for a guy weekend scheduled for right after our tax appointment. I agreed enthusiastically, suggesting we make it a full 3-day trip. I asked if I should bring the fishing gear we bought together last summer, the gear I'd already sold on Facebook Marketplace to a dad teaching his kid to fish. Day 94. Tom helped me remove the last of my important stuff. He still didn't know the full story, just that I might be staying with him for a while soon. He didn't ask questions, just made room in his spare bedroom and added me to his Netflix account. Brothers, man. The real MVPs. Day 95. Kevin recovered the deleted files from our home computer. Hundreds of messages between Lisa and Nathan going back almost 3 years. Plans for trips, complaints about me, explicit photos. But the smoking gun was a document titled Financial Plan Post B, with a detailed timeline for their new life together. My name wasn't mentioned once, just referred to as current obstacle. 3 years of my life reduced to an obstacle. Day 96. Lisa was extra affectionate. She suggested we go out for a nice dinner, just because, wore the bracelet I gave her for our anniversary, and initiated sex for the first time in months. I went through the motions, feeling nothing but a strange detachment. Afterwards, she cuddled up and started talking about the tax appointment, how it would secure our future, the future she wasn't planning to spend with me. I smiled in the dark and told her I was looking forward to it too. Day 97. I woke up at 4 a.m., couldn't sleep. I sat on our back porch watching the sunrise, thinking about the day ahead, the last day of being a pathetic fool. I made coffee and left a cup on Lisa's nightstand like I always do. She woke up, smiled sleepily, and reminded me about our appointment at 2 p.m. I kissed her forehead and told her not to worry. I hadn't forgotten. I had my own appointment at 9 a.m. that she didn't know about. By 10:30 a.m., everything was in motion. The wheels I'd spent 97 days carefully positioning were finally turning. I sent one group text, made 3 phone calls, signed 5 documents, then turned off my phone. I got in my car and drove to the place where I would finally stop being the perfect husband. The next time I turned my phone back on, 42 missed calls, 16 voicemails, 93 text messages, and 0 regrets. I'll post the aftermath tomorrow. This has been therapeutic to write out. Thanks for listening. First, thanks for all the support. I didn't expect this level of response. For everyone asking if I'm okay, I'm getting there, one day at a time. So, day 97, the day it all went down, I woke up at 4:27 a.m. according to my smartwatch. I couldn't sleep. My stomach was doing Olympic-level gymnastics, not from nervousness, but from a weird mix of relief and anticipation. 3 months of acting was about to end. Lisa was still asleep, curled up on her side of the bed like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't spent years lying to my face. I got up quietly, made coffee, and sat on our back deck watching the neighborhood come alive. Mrs. Anderson next door walking her yappy chihuahua, the Amazon guy delivering a package to the Johnsons. Normal life going on, while mine was about to implode. By choice. At 7:30 a.m., Lisa's alarm went off. She shuffled into the kitchen looking for coffee, kissed my cheek, and reminded me about our important tax appointment at 2 p.m. I smiled and asked if she wanted me to make breakfast. She seemed surprised by the offer but said yes. While making her favorite avocado toast, the fancy kind with the everything bagel seasoning she loves, I casually mentioned I might be a few minutes late to the appointment because of a quick meeting. Her face did that thing, the micro expression of panic before she controlled it. She asked if we should reschedule. I assured her I'd be there, just might need to meet her at the office instead of driving together. The relief on her face was immediate. Their plan was still on track as far as she knew. She left for her morning appointments at 9:15 a.m. I watched her pull out of the driveway, texting as she drove, probably telling Nathan that everything was proceeding as planned. As soon as her car turned the corner, I sprang into action. First stop, the bank. Not our usual branch, but one across town, where I'd set up a new account 3 weeks earlier. I deposited the cashier's check I'd gotten from selling my old BMW, the one Lisa always complained about but Nathan always admired. The teller smiled as she processed it, completely unaware she was handling part of a 3-month revenge plot. Second stop, Victoria's office. My attorney had everything ready. 6 documents needed my signature. The last 3 months of careful planning condensed into legally binding paperwork. As I signed each page, I felt lighter. Victoria gave me a flash drive with all the evidence we'd compiled. The texts, the bank records, the photos, the recordings, all backed up in triplicate, with copies already sent to my email and stored in the cloud. When I was done, Victoria looked at me and asked if I was sure. This was the point of no return. I just nodded and said I'd never been more sure of anything. By 11:30 a.m., I was at Tom's place. My brother had cleared his spare room as promised. I dropped off my last bag of essentials, plugged in my laptop, and opened the file titled Day 97. The checklist I'd created weeks ago was right there waiting for me. 8 steps. 8 simple steps to reclaim my life. Step 1. Send the email. I drafted it carefully, reviewed it with Victoria, and revised it 4 times. It was addressed to 14 people. Lisa's parents, my parents, our closest friends, Lisa's sister Monica, and a few mutual friends who deserved to know the truth. Not vindictive or angry, just factual. I explained I was ending my marriage due to Lisa's long-term affair with Nathan, included just enough evidence to be irrefutable without being graphic, and asked for privacy during this difficult time. Click Sent. Step 2. Update social media. Changed my relationship status on Facebook to single without any comment. Unfriended both Lisa and Nathan. Updated my contact information on all platforms. Simple, clean break. Step 3. The group text. This went to our friend group, the people we saw regularly, who had dinner at our house, who came to our Super Bowl parties, who deserved to hear it from me directly before the gossip started. Short and to the point. Marriage over, found out Lisa and Nathan have been together for years. Please respect my privacy. Not your fault. Still value your friendship. The responses were immediate. Shock, disbelief, support, questions. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and moved to Step 4. Step 4. Call Lisa's parents. This was the hardest one. I genuinely liked my in-laws. They had always treated me like a son. The call was brief and painful. Her dad went silent. Her mom cried. I apologized for delivering the news this way, thanked them for welcoming me into their family. They deserved better than an email or text. Step 5. Transfer the money. Move the agreed-upon amount from our joint account to Lisa's personal account. Exactly half of our joint savings, not a penny more or less. Left the transaction description as your share goodbye. Then transferred my half to my new secure account. Step 6. Send the text to Lisa. This was timed precisely at 1:45 p.m., 15 minutes before our tax appointment. I sent her the message I drafted and redrafted dozens of times. I know about you and Nathan. Have known for 97 days. Don't go to the tax office. There's no appointment. The papers you'll be served are divorce papers, not house transfer documents. Everything has already been filed. Your things are at the house. I won't be. Goodbye, Lisa. Step 7. Send the text to Nathan. This one was shorter. Hope she was worth it. Check your email. Everyone knows. Step 8. Turn off phone. And I did. For 6 blessed hours, I existed in a bubble where none of it could touch me. Tom and I ordered pizza, played Call of Duty, didn't talk about Lisa or Nathan or betrayal. Just 2 brothers hanging out like when we were teenagers. At 8:17 p.m., I finally turned my phone back on. 42 missed calls, 16 voicemails, 93 text messages. The breakdown: 23 calls from Lisa, 11 calls from Nathan, 4 calls from Monica, 3 calls from Lisa's mom, 1 from my mom checking if I was okay. The voicemails ranged from Lisa sobbing incoherently, to Lisa screaming that I'd ruined everything, to Lisa begging me to talk to her. Nathan's were pathetic attempts at damage control. We need to talk man to man. It's not what you think. We can work this out. The texts were a dumpster fire of emotions. Lisa cycling through denial, anger, bargaining. Nathan growing increasingly desperate as he realized his reputation was torched. Our friends expressing shock, support, offering places to stay. The most satisfying text came from Jessica. I should have told you. I'm so sorry. What they did was wrong. I responded to exactly 3 messages. Thanked my mom for checking on me, assured Kevin I was fine, told Tom I'd be staying another night. The next morning, I woke up to 17 more missed calls and a novel's worth of texts from Lisa. The tone had shifted from anger to pain, panic. Apparently, she discovered that I had documentation of everything. The tax appointment was actually with Victoria, who had served Lisa with divorce papers when she arrived. All our friends and family knew exactly what she and Nathan had done. The house wasn't being transferred to her name. Instead, I'd already arranged for it to be sold, with the proceeds to be split as part of the divorce settlement. Her secret account with the $40K wasn't so secret to the divorce proceedings. I decided it was time for the confrontation, not because I needed closure, but because I wanted to see her face when she realized she'd lost control of the narrative. I suggested meeting at a local cafe near Tom's place, public enough to prevent a scene, private enough for a real conversation. She agreed immediately. When I walked in, she was already there, looking like absolute hell. Eyes puffy, hair unwashed, wearing the same clothes from yesterday. For a split second, I felt a pang of something. Not quite sympathy, maybe just muscle memory from 11 years of caring about this person. I sat down and said nothing, letting the silence do its work. She started talking immediately, a jumbled mess of excuses, apologies, and accusations. It wasn't what it looked like, she insisted. She and Nathan had made a mistake. She even had the audacity to claim that I had violated her privacy by checking her messages. Then, in the next breath, she still loved me, and we could fix this. I waited until she ran out of steam, then asked one question. When did it start? She hesitated, then admitted it had been going on for almost 3 years. Started as just physical, but became more. Nathan understood her in ways I didn't. They hadn't meant to hurt me. I pulled out my phone, played the recording from her car Bluetooth, the one where they called me a pathetic fool and laughed about stealing my house. Her face went completely white. That's when I told her everything. How I'd known for exactly 97 days. How I'd documented every lie, every secret meeting, every dollar she'd hidden. How the tax benefits plan they thought was so clever had been dismantled piece by piece while they weren't looking. She tried the tears again, said Nathan had pushed the plan, that she'd had doubts, asked if there was any chance we could try again. I just looked at her, this stranger wearing my wife's face, and felt nothing but a dull ache where love used to be. I told her the divorce papers had already been filed, the terms were fair, and fighting it would only cost her more money and public embarrassment. The evidence was solid. As I got up to leave, she grabbed my arm and asked where I'd been staying. I didn't answer. She didn't deserve to know. The confrontation with Nathan happened by accident 2 days later. I was at Home Depot, buying basic necessities for my new life. Amazing how many things you take for granted until you need to buy them all at once. When I turned the corner, and there he was, looking at power tools. His face when he saw me was almost comical. Deer in headlights doesn't begin to cover it. He started with the standard deflection. We need to talk. It's complicated. Lisa and I never meant for this to happen. I just looked at him and asked if it was worth it. 11 years of friendship, countless camping trips, game nights, birthdays, all thrown away for what? A relationship built on lies? He didn't have an answer, just stood there holding a drill like it was a lifeline. I told him I didn't hate him. Hating him would require energy I wasn't willing to spend on him anymore. Then I walked away, left him standing there, surrounded by tools he didn't need. The next few weeks were a blur of paperwork, moving and adjusting. The house sold quickly in this market. I found a small apartment closer to work. Lisa signed the divorce papers without contesting anything, probably realizing fighting would only expose more of her deception. The fallout in our social circle was about what you'd expect. Some mutual friends tried to stay neutral, but most sided with me once they knew the details. Nathan lost his fantasy football league spot. Petty but satisfying. Jessica reached out to apologize again for keeping their secret. Monica, surprisingly, called to say she was ashamed of her sister. 3 months after day 97, the divorce was finalized. No muss, no fuss. We split the assets fairly. I kept my retirement accounts intact. She kept her secret stash. I didn't want a penny from her that I hadn't earned. I heard through the grapevine that Lisa and Nathan are still together, living in a rented condo across town. Apparently, the dream house they plan to buy with my money is on hold indefinitely. Their new place Amazon wishlist remains unfulfilled. As for me, I'm doing okay. Some days are better than others. I still wake up sometimes reaching for someone who isn't there. I've had exactly 2 dates, both spectacularly awkward. I'm not ready, and that's fine. Last week, I found Lisa's favorite coffee mug in a box I hadn't unpacked yet. The one with the chip on the handle that she refused to throw away because it was perfectly good otherwise. For a minute, I just stood there holding it, remembering morning coffees and weekend breakfasts and a life I thought was real. Then I wrapped it carefully in newspaper, put it in a small box with her other forgotten items, and mailed it to her new address. No note, no message, just returning what wasn't mine anymore. And that's it. That's the story of how I spent 97 days pretending to be the perfect husband while dismantling a betrayal 3 years in the making. Not for revenge, though, that was part of it, but for self-respect. For refusing to be the pathetic fool they thought I was. If you're reading this and going through something similar, it gets better. Not immediately, not completely, but enough. Stay strong.